effects on the environment, and I just thank you for your advocacy, sir. So I now turn to my friend from Wisconsin, Mr. Kind, for his thoughts on this particular subject. A gentleman who is an outdoorsman, talks about the farms, the cheeses of Wisconsin. He's there as a real advocate for his state, and I'm just afraid and I'm sorry that he's had the Green Bay Packers and they've fallen on hard times.
Listen, even with that introduction, Mr. Speaker, I thank my very good friend and colleague from Colorado for holding this special order. And I'm honored, actually, to be on the House floor with so many of my esteemed colleagues who have taken a backseat to no one when it comes to standing up for our natural resources, for the conservation title specifically of this farm bill. I'm looking at the gentlelady from Maine, Ms. Pingree, and the work that she's done on agriculture policy throughout the years in her service to her district, the introduction of the Local Farms Act that she's worked on in a bipartisan fashion. My friend from Oregon, who is one of the foremost thinkers and leaders when it comes to environmental policy, but the impact on our family farms throughout our country. And this is an important moment, because this is one of the more important bills that we have to consider in this session of Congress, the renewal of the Farm Bill. We have a chance every 5-6 years or so to take a look at the programs, see what's working, what isn't, fix what isn't working to make sure that we're empowering our farmers with the tools and resources they need to be successful. And I come from one of the largest agriculture producing districts in the nation, in rural western and north central Wisconsin. And it's been tough in farm country the last few years, given where commodity prices have been, yes, where milk prices have been falling for the last 3 years. It's very difficult for these individual entities and family farms to succeed with this very tough market that they're facing right now. And that's why taking our time to get this farm bill done right is the appropriate thing to do. But unfortunately, the Farm Bill in its current form misses the mark in so many areas. There's been a lot of discussion about what's happening under the conservation title, the elimination of the Conservation Stewardship Program, which has worked incredibly well and has been very successful for my family farmers in Wisconsin. I come from a very hilly area with bluffs and coulees, a lot of highly sensitive and erodible land, a lot of water source. Being able to use a conservation stewardship program that's built in for the flexibility for what my farmers need and the technical assistance that they need to put good conservation plans in practice is very important. And as the previous speaker highlighted too, that the demand is overwhelming. 3 out of every 4 farmers nationwide applying for conservation funding assistance are currently turned away because of the inadequacy of resources. By eliminating the CSP program, rolling it into EQIP program, eliminates $800 million worth of base funding. This comes on the heels of the previous Farm Bill, where there were $8 billion worth of cuts under the conservation title. So we're not stepping up to address the need that exists in farm country. Instead, we're rolling it back even further. But the problems with this Farm Bill don't just end under the conservation title. Under the Title I commodity programs, they're lifting the payment limitation caps that had been in existence for some time. And now, pass-through entities will be able to qualify for these subsidy payments. I think the average viewer and average taxpayer would be shocked to see the mailing addresses for these commodity subsidy programs going to New York, Chicago, and San Francisco, ending up on the doorsteps of multimillionaires and billionaires who are receiving government subsidies under the commodity program. That's wrong. These people don't even set foot on a family farm. And now we're going to be rolling back any protections that exist under the multiple entity rule, which means that husbands, wives, daughters, sisters and sons, aunts and uncles can qualify for the same payments is also wrong. And then finally, there's an opportunity to tighten the crop insurance program. Right now, it is prohibited from even tracking these crop insurance premium subsidies. We can't even track it to the individual. And if there's one thing that this Farm Bill should demand is complete transparency. The American taxpayer deserves to know where their tax dollars are going, but they can't now under the crop insurance program. That's something else that I'm trying to fix with an amendment. We're going to find out later today what amendments are made in order to try to improve this bill. It may be beyond salvage at this point coming out of the House, but we still have time later this year to do the right thing, to make sure that this Farm Bill speaks to the needs of our family farmers back home and not to the powerful special interests here in Washington. And I thank my colleague again for yielding me this time, and I